4 pilots and 4 mechanics from the U.S. Air Service have been selected to undertake an extraordinary journey. And even the President wants to wish them luck. If they succeed, they will become the first men to fly around the world, and their daring has made them instant celebrities. In charge of the young airmen is 41-year-old Major Frederick L. Martin, a veteran of the Great War and the only father in the group. While his young son is said to be terrified, for Martin, it's the honor and opportunity of a lifetime. His wife gives her blessing, and on April 6, 1924, the 4 Douglas World Cruisers set off from Seattle. The journey is scheduled to take 5 months, but almost immediately, along the west coast of Canada, the fragile planes are hit by appalling weather. After emergency repairs at Prince Rupert, they continue over a grueling stretch of windswept Alaskan peaks. But only 3 of the planes make it across. Commander Martin and his mechanic have vanished. As the others wait anxiously, the President sends word to continue without their leader. But after 10 days missing, a message comes through that Martin and his co-pilot have been found alive. Too far behind to catch up, the Major must now follow news of his team from the ground, along with the rest of the world. Almost 2 weeks later, the American aviators receive a hero's welcome in Japan. Then on through China, India, and Turkey. They fly over the Palace of Versailles in France, where peace was made just a few years ago. Then on to Great Britain, the final stop in Europe. Major Martin has been offered the chance to rejoin the team and lead them home. But he wants the honor to be theirs alone. And on September the 28th, 1924, 175 days since they set off, the first round-the-world flight returns to Seattle, where a proud Commander Martin is there to welcome them home. A prize of $25,000 is on offer to the first man to fly nonstop from New York to Paris. Many of the world's most celebrated aviators have attempted it. 6 have died trying. But today, May the 20th, 1927, a young airmail pilot called Charles Lindbergh will try his luck. And unlike anyone before him, Lindbergh will attempt the flight entirely alone. Some in the press are calling him the Flying Fool. His single-engine monoplane has been stripped down to accommodate the 425 gallons of fuel he needs to cross the vast Atlantic Ocean. The cockpit is so small he can't even stretch his legs. And even then, the plane still struggles to lift off the runway. At 7:52 a.m., Charles Lindbergh sets off for Europe with just 2 thermoses of water and 4 homemade sandwiches. Three and a half thousand miles away, on the other side of the Atlantic, news cameras are waiting at Le Bourget airfield on the outskirts of Paris. But 30 hours after he set off, there is still no sign of Lindbergh. By nightfall, news that he's been spotted over Ireland has brought 100,000 people to the airfield, all scouring the skies. Then, at 10:22 p.m., the hum of engines signals that the Spirit of St. Louis has touched down. In the excitement and commotion, Lindbergh is whisked away to safety. And it's not until the next morning, outside the American Embassy in Paris, that the former airmail pilot in a borrowed suit is presented to the world. Charles Lindbergh has won the prize, and no one is calling him the flying fool now.
The route we'll follow will be from New York to Harbor Grace to Berlin, Berlin to Moscow.
Australian navigator Harold Gatty is plotting a record-breaking journey around the world.
Cleveland back to New York. Are you all set? Yep.
Just before dawn on June 23, 1931, he and American pilot Wiley Post prepared to take their Lockheed Vega, the Winnie Mae, around the world in just 10 days. To document the flight, Harold Gatty has been loaned a movie camera. But he's only filming when the weather is clear and the flying smooth. When the pair are forced to fly blind through storms, fog, and torrential rain, they rely on the latest navigation equipment Gatty himself has invented.
On July the 1st, the Winnie Mae returns to New York to a hero's welcome. They've made it in just 8 days, surviving on an average of less than 2 hours sleep a night. They've narrowly avoided crashing into the icy Bering Sea, got stuck in mud in remote Siberia, and lost half a day as guests of honor at a banquet in Moscow. But now they are safely back on American soil
And looking forward, they say, to sleeping for a week.
What do you think of that story of Jules Verne's around the world in 80 days?
I'd rather make it that way.
A little too fast. What do you think, Harold?
Well, I don't think he was so good.
Amelia Mary Earhart has become only the second person to fly solo across the Atlantic. It's May the 21st, 1932, 5 years to the day since Charles Lindbergh's historic flight, and no one else has managed it since. The fearless aviatrix wanted to show that women are just as capable as men, and put her life on the line to prove it. During the dramatic crossing, flames spewed out of a cracked manifold, and at one point, with ice forming on the wings, the plane plummeted 3,000 feet.
But Earhart survived it all to make an impromptu landing on a farm in Northern Ireland.
Who was the first person you saw?
The owner of the land came out. I think he was surprised to find an airplane in his front yard.
Back in New York, Amelia receives a heroine's welcome. Since childhood, she'd kept a scrapbook about women who have succeeded in fields dominated by men. Now, an award from President Herbert Hoover confirms her place in history.
Miss Earhart and Mrs. Putnam, it gives me a very great deal of pleasure to present you with this rarely conferred medal. The whole of America is proud of you and your performance.
I do thank you sincerely. I fear my exploit was not worth so great an honor.